Hi, host Eric here, host of Talking with Famous People, waiting for host Zachary to return from the bathroom. Here he is now. Hi, host Zachary. This worked out well. I started a little miniature intro just a few seconds before you came back from the bathroom saying, Hi, this is host Eric. And I'm waiting for Zachary to get back from the bathroom, and then right on cue, he sat down. So we can just continue this as the intro to the song, to the video. Here we go. So 1 minute intro to this video begins now. Hello, my name is host Eric, and welcome to Talking with Famous People. This is my opponent, Zachary, host Zachary, and we are defending the affirmative and negative side of the resolution resolved. What the hell with people's politics and their cognitive functions? We're going to use a time debate format style today, not any sort of formal format of any recognized type of debate, but debate format in ideation anyway. And the format is going to be 3-3-2-2-3. That's Zachary's going to make an opening speech. I'm going to respond to that. He's going to respond to that. I'm going to respond to that. Then we have 3 minutes of crossfire. This is not intended to be adversarial in rhetoric in rhetorical sense. It's intended to be dialectical. And the goal is for us to explore the ideas and hit where there's some contradictions and together generate synthesis and produce new wisdom which betters every single member of humanity in just 5 minutes. Okay, Zachary, you're going first. It's 3 minutes on the clock. Time starts now.
Okay, so in examining the individual's cognitive functions, cognitive mechanisms in relation to their political ideologies and what they resonate with the most, I think one of the most important aspects is their judging function. And I'll first start by talking about extroverted thinking. I think that those with dominant extroverted thinking are going to be more likely to resonate with a political ideology or a political system in which the purpose of the individual is, for the most part, minimized, and the purpose of the society as a whole is maximized for efficiency. So the person with the dominant extroverted thinking is going to be they're going to be primarily interested in how the individual can benefit the community and society that they are a part of as a whole with their abilities, skills, talents, etc. Now, this is contrast to the individuals who have feeling as their dominant cognitive mechanisms. So I think that feeling is going to manifest in ways that the person with the dominant feeling functions are going to prefer ideologies and political systems which maximize the purpose of the individual because they feel the best way to maximize the efficiency of the society as a whole is to maximize the purpose of the individual. So they're going to be mostly interested in the needs of the individual. They're going to probably be more inclined to support social systems that aid the individual in kind of doing what they want, going to what they want, etc. This is the reason I think this is because those with dominant feeling functions are going to be more inclined to empathize with each individual member of the society, and they're going to think that if the individual's purpose and well-being and happiness is maximized, then that is going to extend into the society as a whole. Whereas those with the more decisive, extroverted thinking and perhaps introverted thinking a bit too, they're going to think that it doesn't matter much what the individual thinks. It matters how their actions and what they are good at affect society as a whole. So they're going to push people towards ideologies that are more authoritative, so to speak, and try to...
Time. Okay, cool. Time starts now. Okay, so basically the roadmap then for this topic is going to be TE with a little discussion of TI, followed by FEFI. Now, regarding the TETI, one thing I heard Zachary talk about was the desire to understand individuals in terms of their use. I would say that indeed, sort of, but I guess draw the distinction that yeah, it's directive and they want to see people being useful, but they may be more likely to say if they see individuals in terms of their usefulness. Now, whether or not that's going to have a lot of impact on their political position regarding groups and individuals, which is really the core dispute of politics, no matter what the things being talked about is, the real underlying issue is group versus individual. And the exact how that's going to play out is going to depend, I think, a lot on the individual's life experience. So I guess what I'm saying is that a TE dominant individual is most likely to reflect a wide variety of political opinions based on his personal experience. Now, being a fairly good earner, probably, the TE Dom may end up being more quote-unquote conservative or quote-unquote libertarian on the grounds that his life experience is such that he understands where wealth comes from, how he earned it, and what that means. But I don't necessarily know if that's so much a function of being TE as it is a function of the natural outcomes of being TE, which is to say success and achievement. The FEFI thing, you talked about how there's an egalitarian valuing of individuals who use FE or FI because they see everybody, they feel their feelings as they're able to explore their relationships with others through the vehicle of empathy. And I agree that they are able to do that one way or the other, either empathy through being very concerned about how others feel, or empathy because one is very familiar with one's own feelings. And indeed, that is going to manifest the same for both types. If you're an FI Dom, you're more likely to vote similarly to an FE Dom than, say, a TI Dom is likely to vote similarly to a TE Dom, in my opinion. So the FEFI thing, though, I see it as not an egalitarian valuing of people, but rather a valuing of harmony either for oneself, in other words, one's own well-being and one's own family and stuff like that, which will lead necessarily to a very selfish kind of voting, which means if there's a program for the government to do something for you that's going to help your family, you're going to vote for it for sure. FE, if you're worried about other people, you're going to vote for a bunch of social programs. Regardless, I think that tends to favor group over individual. 2 minutes, Zachary. If you are an attendee who has arrived, Tony, hello, thank you for hanging on, and we will be done after this scheduled stuff is over. Okay, 2 minutes. Zachary, time starts now.
I think you're correct that those with dominant feeling functions are going to be focused on, I think harmony is the better way to put it, as opposed to something like egalitarianism. They're going, but what that harmony implies is that because the dominant feeler is going to be more empathetic towards individuals in the society, they are going to be okay with mechanisms within the political ideology that promote self-interest. They're going to be, more in favor of social programs, the safety nets, etc. Whereas I think you're correct with the extroverted thinking is going to, they may fall more in line to like libertarian or conservative ideologies, at least fiscally conservative, because they are going to be more, they understand, perhaps based on life experiences, where wealth comes from, how the wealth is made, and they're going to want to replicate that and see it fully implemented into the society, into the political ideology as a whole. And that's where they're going to be more concerned with the economy or the work ethic and whatnot of each individual member of the society, as opposed to keeping safety nets for members of the society, or they're going to maximize efficiency. They're going to look for the best way to keep every member of the society going about economically, and that involves pushing towards a more strict paradigm, so to speak, of out of time.
You always finish your sentence. Hey, that's a rule in the debate. You can always finish your sentence as long as it doesn't go on forever. If you're in the middle of it when the bell rings.
I think I said. I forgot. I lost it.
Yeah, you don't have to if you don't want to. Okay, so I got 2 minutes. Time starts now. I had a notion when Zachary said something. I don't remember exactly what prompted it, and I liked the idea a lot, and I wanted to throw it out here right now. Regarding politics in general, I think you could boil it down to a single core question plus one modifier. Okay? And the core question is this. Are you subject to the family budget analogy fallacy? Are you subject to the family relationship analogy fallacy? Or are you largely not subject to that fallacy? More so, not subject to it. And what I mean by this is as follows. I imagine a lot of TEs would be subject to the nation is like a family and its budget, and we have to treat the nation like we treat the family's budget. We wouldn't want to borrow all this money if we wouldn't be $1 trillion in debt. My family's never been $1 trillion in debt. It's ridiculous, I'm telling you. Now listen, this nation has got to tighten its purse strings. It's got to take care of its business. If a family could not possibly live like this without going bankrupt. I can imagine a TE person being like that. The family budget analogy. The family relationships analogy person says, we cannot allow people in this great country, in this wealthy nation of ours, to go hungry every night, to have to live in the streets without shelter and marriage and healthcare. For the cheers, right? Those are two fallacies that the two respective types are subject to, the two respective poles are subject to. Neither of them are accurate. The government is not at all like a family, in any sense. So that's your third choice. Your third choice is libertarian. Your first two are going to be Republican and Democrat.
We should start this last minute to go back and forth, so go ahead and finish.
3-minute crossfire. Time starts now. Zachary, I'm going to do what I tell my debaters to never fucking do, and I seriously want to, I want there to be, an exception where I can hit them with a rolled-up newspaper when they do this. Because it's so annoying. I'm going to tell you this. Would you like the first question or statement?
Sure. Oh, I'm supposed to give the first question statement.
What, you didn't have to? You could have said no. You could have said no, I wouldn't like it.
Okay, I thought you were asking if I would. Okay. So first, I think you're right. I think both sides are, to the full extent of their value functions, they're inclined to those polar opposites of those decisive value systems, so to speak, of just either the government's run like a family, or everyone is the feeling's more inclined to everyone, we need to make sure no one goes hungry, no one's poor, etc. And then the thinking type is more of everyone needs to buckle up and just tackle everything. It's all about the individual's work ethic on their own, no help, etc. And I think that, like you said, the third option, libertarianism, is kind of almost like a dialectic of the two, of just viewing things as within reason, in the sense that.
Well, I think the third thing is, it's basically this. Look, if you're viewing the government as a father figure, then you're viewing yourself as a child. If you're viewing the government as a mother figure, then you're viewing yourself as a child. If you view the government as something that really needs to not impose upon you at all, you're viewing it like you are an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's a matter of the extent to which you feel comfortable being a child to a governing body that is not an individual, but rather a set of protocols that manifest as justifications for violence in certain circumstances. Why one would feel like that's a parent figure, I don't know. The whole definition of the state is that which has a monopoly on use of force. It's like it's a justified violence machine in its best form. It's a justified violence machine.
So you're saying we should view the state as, like you said, like a system in which, not a father figure, but a system that has, the responsibility to protect certain individual rights of the populace. And that's, to what extent should it go beyond that?
The only thing government does is use force, either justly or unjustly. We want government to use force to protect us from things like murderers and thieves and other people who would violate our rights. Government uses force for all sorts of different reasons. When you say, well, giving people disability checks is not using force, Eric. Well, it is if you ask where they got the money.
That's true.
That's time on this video. Pew, 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 pew. Hope you enjoyed it. It was like a debate round.